On a cold Tuesday morning, an FBI agent logs into a hidden corner of the internet. Their mission is to pose as a wealthy investor and lure out a ghosted trader selling corporate secrets for crypto. They're navigating a marketplace that looks like a warped version of eBay, but instead of used phones, the listings are for stolen credit cards, drugs, and something far more insidious: a ticket to rig the stock market. The agent knows that one wrong word, one tiny slip-up, could blow the whole operation. This isn't some Hollywood thriller. This is the new front line in the war for a fair financial market, and the battle has gone completely digital. The stock market has always been a high-stakes game of information. Fortunes are won and lost based on who knows what and when they know it. For decades, insider trading was a crime of whispers in fancy boardrooms and secret payoffs in dark parking garages. It was a crime reserved for the corporate elite. But the internet, especially its hidden, anonymous layer known as the dark web, has changed the rules entirely. This isn't your grandfather's insider trading. Now, corporate secrets, the kind that can send a stock price soaring or crashing overnight, are being packaged, marketed, and sold to anonymous buyers for cryptocurrency. It's a global digital black market for world-changing information, and it's open 24/7. The criminals operating there thought they were untouchable, wrapped in that cloak of digital anonymity. They were wrong. Federal agencies like the FBI and the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, were adapting. They were learning to hunt in this new digital wilderness. And this is the story of how they dragged the dark web's stock traders out of the shadows. To get what's going on here, you have to understand the mindset of the people who hang out in these spaces. In this anonymous world, reputation is everything, and a good nickname can become your brand. One of the boldest figures to show up was a Greek national named Apostolos Trevias, who went by a simple, powerful handle: the Bull. Around 2016, Trevias started building his business on dark web marketplaces like Alphabay, which at the time was the biggest illegal bazaar on the internet. He set up his shop right in the fraud section, and his pitch was brutally effective. He claimed to be selling confidential information about publicly traded companies. This is what the SEC calls material non-public information, or MNP, are the holy grail for any trader looking for an unfair advantage. But Trevias wasn't just selling one-off tips, he was building a brand. He sold his insider information on a subscription basis for about $330 a month in Bitcoin. His customers would get a steady stream of what he promised were corporate secrets. He claimed his info came directly from a corrupt employee who had access to the order books of a securities trading firm. He also sold pre-release corporate earnings reports, giving his clients a look at a company's numbers before anyone else. He was even planning to launch his own website, a dedicated auction house for stolen secrets where he'd take a cut of every deal. For a while, the Bull was on a rampage, seemingly unstoppable in his digital arena. While Trevias was building his empire, other digital ghosts were haunting the same dark web forums. One of them used the name MillionaireMike. In reality, he was James Roland Jones, a SpaceX engineer from California. Jones's story shows how people from all walks of life found their way into this world. He started by trying to get into an exclusive dark web forum for elite insider traders. When he couldn't prove he had any real inside access, he learned a valuable lesson. On the dark web, you can just fake it. Jones started a scheme selling so-called insider tips that he didn't actually have, taking Bitcoin from users who then traded on his garbage information. But his greed didn't stop there. He also became a customer. He bought stolen personal information names, social security numbers, and birth dates to open up fraudulent trading accounts. He was playing both sides of the digital hustle, a seller of fake secrets and a buyer of stolen identities, all to chase an illegal payday. He just didn't know that one of his customers wasn't who they claimed to be. His digital dealings had put a target on his back, and the FBI was getting close. These two figures, the Bull and MillionaireMike, represent a huge shift in financial crime. But how do you actually catch anonymous users on encrypted networks? It's one of the biggest challenges for modern law enforcement. Before we get into how the FBI and SEC went undercover to build their cases, if you're finding this look into the dark web fascinating, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It lets us keep bringing you these deep dives into the hidden corners of the world. For law enforcement, taking on this new threat was like trying to fight a shadow. The dark web is built for anonymity, using browsers like Tor to hide a user's location and identity. The use of cryptocurrency just adds another layer of complexity, making it harder to follow the money. On top of all that, to make a traditional insider trading case stick, prosecutors have to prove the information was leaked in breach of a duty to a company. When you're dealing with some anonymous guy named the Bull, proving where his tips actually came from is a massive headache. Therefore, investigators had to think creatively. They realized they couldn't just watch from the sidelines, had to go in. Between 2017 and 2020, undercover agents from the FBI and the IRS started running sting operations. They logged onto the same dark web markets just like any other customer, created anonymous profiles, bought some Bitcoin, and went shopping for secrets. In the case of Apostolos Travias, federal agents literally subscribed to his service. They messaged back and forth with the Bull, who bragged that his tips came from money managers and market makers. With James Roland Jones, the operation was even more direct. In 2017, an undercover FBI agent fed Jones what he claimed was inside information about a public company. Jones and a partner took the bait, using the fake tip to make trades in a fraudulently opened account. The trap was sprung. These digital ghosts, thinking they were safe behind their screens, were now talking directly to the people sworn to bring them down. The digital cat-and-mouse game was finally coming to an end. With chat logs, Bitcoin transaction records, and evidence from their undercover purchases, the Department of Justice and the SEC had everything they needed. That cloak of anonymity was about to be ripped away. For James "Millionaire Mike" Jones, the end came swiftly. Facing a mountain of evidence from the undercover op, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit securities fraud. His case was a landmark. It was the first time the SEC had ever brought an enforcement action for securities crimes on the dark web. As one SEC director, David Pivler, put it, "This case shows that the SEC can and will pursue securities law violators wherever they operate, even on the dark web." Facing a mountain of evidence from the undercover op, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit securities fraud. Because the Bull was international, the case against Apostolos Travias was more complex. But his digital trail eventually led authorities to his real-world identity. After almost a year in custody, he pleaded guilty to securities fraud, was sentenced to time served, and had to forfeit everything he made from the scheme. The Bull had been caught. In May 2021, Travias was arrested, not in his home country of Greece, but in Peru, and then extradited to the United States. The downfall of James Roland Jones and Apostolos Travias proved that anonymity is not a superpower. Law enforcement agencies showed they could adapt, using clever undercover work to get inside these secret markets. But the fight is nowhere near over. The SEC has since created new specialized teams like the Crypto Assets and Cyber Unit to focus specifically on fraud that uses the dark web, social media, and crypto. Insider trading is still a top priority for regulators, and they're pouring resources into the technology and people needed to police these digital spaces. These cases revealed a simple truth. The dark web is not a magical shield that protects you from consequences. The digital breadcrumbs are always there, just waiting for someone with the skill and patience to follow them. The story of the Bull and Millionaire Mike is a warning to anyone who thinks they can use technology to put themselves above the law. So, the next time you hear about the dark web, just remember that the FBI is in there too. And it leaves you wondering. As criminals and investigators drag their fight into more and more virtual arenas, what will the next front line look like? Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button.